Chapter 1044 Unleashing Full Speed. Chapter 1044 Unleashing Full Speed. What's wrong, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory? Why haven't you overtaken him yet? Even Celestial Master Dong Ming of the ancient demon clan had to contact him. I underestimated him. I didn't think he'd be this good at running. He's faster than ordinary Celestial Masters, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory replied. I see. No wonder I'm increasingly falling behind Zhu Jian in my perception despite using all my strength. Dong Ming felt relieved. Rest assured. He has some extraordinary tricks up his sleeve, but he's dreaming if he thinks he can outrun me. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory snorted. Secret black patterns emerged all over his skin, engulfing him. These patterns soon covered his entire body. With a flick of his sleeve, a pair of immense black wings burst forth from these patterns. Even Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's body began to experience changes, and he turned into a large bat in a flash. The real form of both Empyrean Patriarch and Di Yang was Sky-Devouring Bat. Emperor of Flames could return to his original form with a secret skill, but Patriarch of Empyrean Glory needed only to trigger his bloodline power to achieve the same. Once he returned to his original self, his speed would increase sharply. Swoosh! An ear-piercing neighing sound resounded in the air. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's large black wings abruptly clapped and his body turned into a black mirage in a violent manner. He was now several times faster than before. When Jian Wushuang used the first Dragon Blood secret skill, his speed was comparable to Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's. That was why, even after the latter had pursued him for 4 hours, their distance didn't diminish at all. But now, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory was visibly closing in onto Jian Wushuang. Suddenly, Jiyu King's voice resounded. Jian Wushuang, Sky-Devouring Bat. Jian Wushuang's expression abruptly changed after noticing that Patriarch of Empyrean Glory was increasingly close behind. The Sky-Devouring Bat has the advantage in terms of speed. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory is also much stronger than his son. He relies solely on his bloodline power to maintain his true form. If his speed explodes, he'll be so much faster than his son. He'll catch up to you in no time if this continues, Jiyu King said in a gloomy voice. Looks like I have no other choice. Jian Wushuang's eyes gleamed, and in the next moment, his already raging spiritual power burned even more intensely. Earlier, the burning rate of his spiritual power was still within acceptable limits. Coupled with Jiyu King's recovering capability and elixirs that heal spiritual powers, he would be able to endure for a very long time. His spiritual power now burned at a frantic speed. This was the second level of his Dragon Blood secret skill. Both levels required him to pay the price of burning his spiritual power, but the speed that the second level provided was tenfold that of the first level. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang streaked across the void instantly. The naked eye wouldn't be able to capture even his shadow. The killing intent in Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's eyes surged dangerously high. He was so close to catching up to Jian Wushuang, but all of a sudden, Jian Wushuang's speed increased sharply, this time about tenfold. In a second, their distance was widened until they were several thousand miles apart. To make things worse, the distance was still widening at a terrifying speed. In no time at all, Jian Wushuang had completely disappeared from his sight. Impossible. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory was truly startled this time. He had been shocked when Jian Wushuang's speed increased tenfold, but now there was another tenfold increase. What kind of development was this? Hundredfold increase. There was a whooping hundredfold increase in his speed. What a formidable secret skill. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory immediately called for Celestial Master Dong Ming. Hurry up and tell me the brat's location. Jian Wushuang had disappeared from his sight with such a simple show of tricks. Without Dong Ming showing him in the right direction, he would have been completely lost. What happened? Don't tell me that Jian Wushuang shook you off. Dong Ming asked doubtfully. Stop with the questions. Just tell me his location. The eyes of Patriarch of Empyrean Glory were alarmingly red. He was unwilling to admit the truth. I am a Sky-Devouring Bat at the Holy Master level. Although I exerted myself in the state of my original form, I still lost track of an Eternal Realm brat. Everyone in the Samsara continent would be laughing their heads off if they found it out. Dong Ming asked no further and faithfully relayed Jian Wushuang's location. I refuse to believe he can use his incredible secret skill which boosts up his speed greatly without paying a steep price. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's killing intent was so strong that it was overflowing. Under Dong Ming's guidance, he continued to chase after Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang successfully threw Patriarch of Empyrean Glory off his trail, but he knew this situation wouldn't last for long. The price for invoking the second level of Dragon Blood secret skill was much steeper than the price for the first. He wouldn't be able to soldier on for much longer. Jian Wushuang, your spiritual power is burning too quickly for my recovering capability to catch up, Ji King said in a low voice. I know. Jian Wushuang nodded with a grim expression. Even with Ji King's help, I could at most exert the second level of Dragon Blood secret skill for an hour. 1 hour was sufficient in a close-quarters combat. Yet it was pathetically short for when he needed to run. His spiritual power would be thoroughly exhausted in an hour and he would then lose all ability to fight back. So much time has passed but Zhu Xiu is still hanging on. Jian Wushuang lamented. His initial plan was to buy himself time to use the restriction methods of the Sword Mountain to torment Zhu Xiu and get the latter to reveal his mother's whereabouts. Once he got the outcome he wanted, he would behead Zhu Xiu and escape using the Dragon Blood secret skill. Once Zhu Xiu lost the mysterious crack for guidance, he could stand a good chance to escape successfully. Who would have thought Zhu Xiu would have such exceptional endurance? Zhu Xiu has a strong consciousness, perhaps due to his reincarnation, Ji King said solemnly. Jian Wushuang's expression shifted. Strong consciousness. He had fully unleashed the might of his sheer shadow sword, which contained a strong consciousness attack, on Zhu Xiu earlier. However, Zhu Xiu remained unaffected clearly showed that he had exceptional consciousness. The restriction methods of the Sword Mountain were terrifying but most were targeted at the consciousness, where they would cause a violent pain in the target's mind. Ordinary Dao masters would have collapsed under such torment but Zhu Xiu had continued to soldier on. Chapter 1045, Black-Robed Girl. Chapter 1045, Black-Robed Girl. Since Xiu has been enduring for such a long time, there's no way he'd tell me in just an hour. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold as his resolution grew firmer. Looks like I have no choice but to kill him. Kill him? Don't you want to know where your mother is? Ji King asked. I'd put up a fight if I know I stand even the slightest chance but it's hopeless now, Jian Wushuang replied solemnly. I'm not a hotspur. I won't blindly pursue a goal even knowing it's hopeless. The mysterious pattern on Zhu Xiu's skin would be gone after his death. I'm confident I can manage to escape within this hour. Once he made up his mind, he immediately set out to kill Zhu Xiu. Just then. Jian Wushuang, hurry up and look what's in front of you, Ji King cried. Jian Wushuang looked up and saw a black dot appearing at the end of his line of sight. The black dot magnified rapidly and appeared before him instantly. It was a sturdy, bear-like, and apathetic man. Oh no! Jian Wushuang's pupils shrunk the moment he saw the apathetic man. This aura belongs to a holy master. Is he from the ancient demon clan? His expression was grim. He had been ready to take Zhu Xiu out but now a celestial master showed up out of nowhere. Moreover, this celestial master was evidently targeting him. He was either from the ancient demon clan or an expert that they invited. This is troublesome. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold. The Blood Mountain sword was already in his hand. Yet unexpectedly. Tchem. Jian Wushuang was stunned. He realized that though the bear-like, apathetic man was eyeing him, there was no killing intent in the latter's eyes. The man was already in front of Jian Wushuang but made no move to attack him. Instead, he bypassed Jian Wushuang and stopped behind him. He then lifted his head and targeted his sharp gaze at Patriarch of Empyrean Glory, who was taking his sweet time in catching up to Jian Wushuang. Then, the man made his move. Boom. The man had merely thrown a simple punch but it was enough to set off an explosion that detonated all of the space around them. Soon an immense black hole emerged which covered the range of thousands of miles out of thin air. The spiral-shaped black hole extended outward in a perfectly straight line. In the center of that spatial black hole was a thick, solid arm with its hand tightly clenched. It was an incredibly arrogant and unyielding fist. This patriarch of Empyrean glory's expression changed when he saw the punch flying at him. He responded by clapping his large wings, producing a powerful storm with a concentrated force. The storm effortlessly shattered the fist and spatial black hole. Though he managed to crush the attacks, Patriarch of Empyrean glory was forced to stop. "Who are you? How dare you stop me?" he asked, his voice carrying traces of alarm. The apathetic man remained expressionless as he responded emotionlessly, "I'm here to stop you on my master's order." "Master?" Patriarch of Empyrean glory was stunned. Once the apathetic man made his move, he had shown that he was a genuine celestial master. What kind of a person will be strong enough to have a celestial master call his master, thought Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang had continued to widen his distance from Patriarch of Empyrean glory after the apathetic man bypassed him. In the end, he stopped running and turned around in time to see the man stopping Patriarch of Empyrean glory. "This man came for me but is not here to kill me, but to help me." He was stunned. Reinforcement. Jian Wushuang never dreamed that he would have reinforcements. After all, he hadn't made many friends in the Samsara continent. He only knew Dragon Wing Governor and Dreamless Dao Master, and he was absolutely certain that these two would have no way of getting him reinforcements on the level of a holy master. But the apathetic man's action and words. "Master?" Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. Who would be the master of this strong and apathetic man? Patriarch of Empyrean glory was so mad, to boot. "I don't care who your master is. This brat killed my son and for that, I must take his life today. Get out of my way. Otherwise," Patriarch of Empyrean glory roared. Before he could finish his sentence, a cold voice came drifting from afar reached his ears. "Otherwise? Otherwise what?" Both Jian Wushuang and Patriarch of Empyrean glory immediately turned toward the source of the voice. They saw dozens of black dots appearing in their vision. These dots rapidly enlarged, soon turning into figures that stood in the void. The group of people emanated dangerously strong auras that indicated that they were in the peak of rank 3 level. Their leader was unexpectedly a stunning, delicate-looking girl in black. Despite her frail appearance, the group of Dao masters stood deferentially behind her. Even the apathetic man who made the first move bowed respectfully to her and cried, "Master." Patriarch of Empyrean glory's pupils shrank in shock. On the other hand, Jian Wushuang was dumbfounded. He had never felt this stupefied in his life. He kept his gaze fixed on the black-robed girl. The girl also stared at him, her eyes reflecting the fierce joy. Jian Wushuang couldn't help crying out, "Fourth sister?" His emotions began surging wildly. Fourth sister? Few people in this world would merit such an intimate manner of addressing from Jian Wushuang. In fact, there were only the three people that he swore to be good siblings with when he was still a weakling in the ancient world. There were 4 of them in total. The oldest was Wang Yuan. The second was Yang Zixuan. The third was Jian Wushuang himself. The fourth, Su Ru. The young and shy girl whose charm drew everyone to dote on her was also the earliest to leave the ancient world. He wasn't there when she left, hearing about her departure from Wang Yuan and Yang Zixuan later. He didn't know where she went, only that she was leaving with a mysterious expert. When he arrived in the Green Fire world, he guessed that she was also here somewhere. But he never once thought that it would be here, in the Samsara continent, that he would meet fourth sister again or that she would now be so different. The young and shy girl back then now possessed a fearsome aura. The dozens of experts that surrounded and protected her also showed her status as an expert. Su Ru was similarly surprised, but she was able to suppress her emotions. Her eyes turned a little colder as she turned to look at Patriarch of Empyrean glory. She once again spoke in that icy cold voice of hers. Patriarch of Empyrean glory, if you dare touch even a strand of hair on his head while I'm around, I'll pluck out all the fur on your bat body. Chapter 1046 Azura Lord. Chapter 1046 Azura Lord. Patriarch of Empyrean glory, if you dare touch even a strand of hair on his head while I'm around, I'll pluck out all the fur on your bat body. Suru's every word rang loudly inside Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's ears. His expression immediately darkened. "Are you from the Blood Azura clan?" He swept his gaze through the experts behind Suru before finally settling on her. "If I'm not mistaken, you're Azura, Lord of the Asuras of the Blood Azura clan, aren't you? Holy Emperor of the Asuras?" Jian Wushuang looked at Suru in surprise. He had read the information on the 4 great clans and had some knowledge of the Blood Azura clan. He knew Azura Lord held the highest position in the Blood Azura clan. The position typically belonged to the clansman with the densest awakened bloodline. It was a position that was basically equivalent to the emperor of the entire clan. It was similar to the position of imperial god in the ancient god clan. Jian Wushuang was amazed. In just a short 2,000 years, 4th sister has become Azura Lord of the Blood Azura clan? Your clan might be strong, but I'm not an easy opponent either. Azura Lord, have you really resolved to provoke me just for this brat? Patriarch of Empyrean Glory snorted. Considering his disregard for the law and morality, as well as his arrogant character, he would not have bothered talking were it not for his misgivings about his new opponent. Obviously he was apprehensive about Suru, or more accurately, her clan. After all, her clan was one of the 4 great clans. He had no choice but to feel reservations about fighting them. "I've made myself very clear. I won't allow anyone to touch even a strand of his hair as long as I'm around." Suru's voice was as cold as ever. She waved her fair hand as she started speaking, prompting the experts behind her to move forward. In a split second, they gathered around the apathetic man to form a blockade around Patriarch of Empyrean Glory. The dozens of peak of rank 3 experts, coupled with a Celestial Master expert, formed a fearsome battle formation that was strong enough to stop Patriarch of Empyrean Glory. More importantly, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory noticed that all the experts were expressionless, as if they felt no emotion, so much so that they resembled puppet fighters. "I heard that as a rising star within the Blood Azura clan, Azura Lord has the densest bloodline in the clan's history. Moreover, she has awakened the Eye of Azura that allows her to control many experts and have them vow their loyalty to her. Even a careless Holy Master expert might find himself under her control. These experts are probably under her control," Patriarch of Empyrean Glory muttered in a gloomy voice. "Those under the control of the Eye of Azura would be so obedient and loyal to their master that they would not hesitate if they were ordered to die. Someone like Azura Lord was much more terrifying than the human warriors or puppet fighters. That was why the experts of the Samsara continent would be so afraid of her. It'd be more difficult to kill the brat with Azura Lord around." Patriarch of Empyrean Glory narrowed his eyes and then took out a token. "Holy Master Dongming, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory, I sensed that Zhu Jian has stopped moving. Have you already killed Jian Wushuang and saved him?" Celestial Master Dongming asked. "Not yet. I've encountered some trouble. Azura Lord of the Blood Azura clan has personally come to protect Jian Wushuang," Patriarch of Empyrean Glory replied in a gloomy voice. "Holy Emperor of the Asuras?" Dongming snorted. "So the Blood Azura clan has gotten involved as well. Could they be behind this operation that targeted Zhu Jian? Humph. That damned Blood Azura clan. Stay there and stall for time. I'll be there as soon as possible." "All right." Patriarch of Empyrean Glory nodded. He once again looked at Suru after the brief exchange of message. "Looks like your clan is determined to interfere in this," he said coldly. "I might not be able to do anything to that brat with you around, but Holy Master Dongming of the ancient demon clan will be here soon. I'd like to see how you and your men take both of us on." Suru's expression changed subtly. She was strong enough to fight the entire ancient demon clan or a Patriarch of Empyrean Glory, all while ensuring Jian Wushuang's safety. However, if Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and the ancient demon clan were to team up, not even she would have the absolute confidence to protect Jian Wushuang. In terms of overall strength, the ancient demon clan was not weaker than her clan. In fact, they might even be slightly stronger. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory was famous for his overwhelming battle strength, powerful and ferocious temper. The Blood Azura clan could not underestimate any of them, but if they were to work together, they would certainly be more powerful than the Blood Azura clan. Well, you still have to wait for Celestial Master Dongming to arrive before you can see that scene, don't you? Su Ru snorted. Her figure abruptly turned illusory, and in the next second, she was already standing next to Jian Wushuang. Third brother, Su Ru greeted, joy evident in her voice. You're really amazing, fourth sister. It's only been 2,000 years since we last met, but you've become Azura Lord of the Blood Azura clan. Jian Wushuang was also wearing an expression of surprise and delight. He had already met his two other brothers, Wang Yuan and Yang Zixuan, in the Void Continent. Su Ru spent the longest time apart from them, which was why she was also the one whom he missed and worried about the most. Naturally, he was pleasantly surprised to finally see her again. It's because of my bloodline, Su Ru said with a laugh. Her expression soon turned somber as she continued, let's put that aside for now. The experts of the ancient demon clan will be here soon. With my ability, there's no way I can handle them and Patriarch of Empyrean Glory at the same time. You should run before the experts arrive. I'll help you hold Patriarch of Empyrean Glory up. Run. There is no need. Jian Wushuang shook his head. Why? Su Ru was confused. There's a secret pattern on my hostage, Dao Master Ju Jian, that allows the ancient demon clan to trace my whereabouts. There's nowhere I can flee as long as that secret pattern exists. It's better if I stay here and negotiate with them, Jian Wushuang replied helplessly. But what if? Su Ru frowned. Don't worry. Since I dare to capture Ju Jian, I naturally have prepared for all possible scenarios. Whatever the outcome is, it won't threaten my life. Furthermore, I have your assistance. How can mere Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and the ancient demon clan hurt me? Jian Wushuang grinned, looking confident in himself. In fact, he did have a lot of confidence in himself. I have stopped using the Dragon Blood secret skill, and meanwhile, Jiyu King is also trying his best to heal his spiritual power. I am supposed to make a full recovery by the time the experts from the ancient demon clan arrive. Should anything bad happen, I would immediately kill Ju Xiu and use his Dragon Blood secret skill to escape. I am certain that I have a good chance of making my escape. Moreover, he was also mulling over a certain thought. If I can't get my mother's whereabouts from Ju Xiu, maybe I can get an answer from Holy Master Dongming. Chapter 1047, Bet. Chapter 1047, Bet. Celestial Master Dongming of the ancient demon clan arrived soon. Apart from him, the 10 great protectors serving Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and a large crowd of experts curious about the pursuit earlier had shown up as well. The tightly packed crowd that had appeared in the void was mostly made out of Dao Masters. All of their attention was placed on Jian Wushuang. Is he Jian Wushuang? He doesn't look that formidable. Jian Wushuang sure is capable to make Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and the ancient demon clan chase after him like this, but his glory ends here. Ends here? I don't think so. Azura Lord of the Blood Azura clan is going to try her best to shield him. One party is Jian Wushuang and Jian Wushuang. The other is Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and the ancient demon clan. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. The whispers began resounding. In their sight, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and Dongming were glaring at Azura Lord. Azura Lord, this has nothing to do with your clan. Are you sure you want to get yourselves involved? Dongming asked in a cold voice. Yes, I am. What can you do about it? Su Ru refused to concede in the slightest. Very well. I've long heard that you have the purest bloodline in the history of Blood Azura clan, and I'm sure you're also the strongest of them all. I'd like to learn from you today. Dongming's gaze was cold and clouded. The moment he stopped speaking, a terrifying killing intent was already bursting forth from him. Simultaneously, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory beside him was also emanating his powerful aura. Evidently, both of them were prepared to fight. Su Ru's expression turned grave. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. Your experts make a decent battle formation, fourth sister, but it'll only be able to hold Patriarch of Empyrean Glory back. It's not realistic to use it to suppress them both. While he shook his head, an idea was already forming in his mind. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory. Jian Wushuang opened his mouth to produce a bellowing sound. He took a step forward at the same time. What more do you have to say, brat? Patriarch of Empyrean Glory asked coolly. It's said that you're so arrogant that you'd never team up with any of the 4 great clans. Yet you decided to work with the ancient demon clan just to kill me. This doesn't seem like your way of doing things. Jian Wushuang chuckled, appearing rather at ease with the current situation. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's expression shifted ever so lightly. It was true that he typically had little to do with the ancient demon clan. Neither did he want to have anything to do with these great clans. But like what Jian Wushuang said, he was teaming up with the ancient demon clan today. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory, Jian Wushuang called, glancing at him. How about we make a bet? Make a bet? Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's expression changed. Since you're so desperate to kill me, I'll give you a chance to do so. I'll take 3 strikes from you face on. If I die, you would have avenged your son. But if you fail to kill me after 3 strikes, you'll have to write off whatever grudge there is between us two. What do you think? Jian Wushuang asked, smiling. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory narrowed his eyes. You'll take 3 strikes from me head-on? He was exceptionally powerful even among the Celestial Masters. Perhaps even an ordinary Celestial Master wouldn't be able to survive after taking 3 strikes from him. Yet Jian Wushuang dared to suggest 3 head-on strikes. Is this brat really that confident in himself? Patriarch of Empyrean Glory muttered to himself. He then sneered and said, Humph. I'm not a fool. You're already a dead man in this current situation. I only need to put in a little effort to kill you, so why should I bother making a bet with you? I'm already a dead man? I don't think that's necessarily true. Jian Wushuang chuckled. Don't assume that I'm unaware that the secret pattern on Dao Master Ju Jian is the only reason you and Celestial Master Dongming know my whereabouts. If you happen to corner me, I'll just kill Dao Master Ju Jian and make my escape. Without that secret pattern, how would you and Celestial Master Dongming track me down? Jian Wushuang appeared utterly confident. The faces of Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and Dongming fell. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory had witnessed just how fast Jian Wushuang could run after using his secret skill. He could not catch up even after exerting all of his strength, unleashing his main body, and using his secret skill. Without the secret pattern pointing the way, he would have long lost track of Jian Wushuang. They too would truly be helpless if Jian Wushuang killed Dao Master Ju Jian and played that secret skill of his. Jian Wushuang, if you dare kill Dao Master Ju Jian, I can guarantee that you will find nowhere to stay in the entire Samsara continent. Dongming said coolly. Oh, excuse me, I'm not a native of Samsara continent in the first place. I'm from the Void continent. If I can't stay here anymore, no big deal. I'll just return to my home. If you're that good, feel free to hunt me down in the Void continent. But I'd like to see just who is it that would be killed then. Jian Wushuang replied with a sneer. Dongming's expression considerably darkened. The Void continent. So you're indeed that top genius who caused all that commotion in the Void continent, he said in a cold voice. Both the Samsara and Void continents were located in the Green Fire world. Being a top expert of the 4 great clans in the Samsara continent, he would naturally have learnt about current events happening in the other continents. Not long ago, he was told a notable battle that took place in the Tang of the East in the Void continent as well as a stunningly brilliant genius. That great genius was in the Eternal Realm. Even though the 2 continents are in the Green Fire world, it's been long agreed that both should mind their own business. If this brat really returns to the Void continent, there's no way for our clan to send too many of our people to hunt him. Moreover, based on the news that I obtained, this brat has exceptional origins in the Void continent. Tang of the East, the number 1 nation on the continent, is his supporter. Never mind the fact that we can't send too many of our people, even if our entire clan goes there, we won't be able to do anything to him. I mustn't let him run off to the Void continent, Dongming muttered in a gloomy voice. But this brat sure has some good escaping tricks up his sleeve. If he kills Dao Master Ju Jian and we lose that secret pattern, no one would be able to catch up to him. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's voice turned even colder. We have no choice but to agree to his requests. His eyes glinted before he finally stepped forward. Jian Wushuang, I accept your bet. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's booming voice reverberated in the air. He understood very well that the bet was his only chance of avenging his son. He had essentially no other way of killing Jian Wushuang. Since this was his last chance, of course he would hold firmly onto it. Chapter 1048, 3 Moves. Chapter 1048, 3 Moves. Oh, you agreed to it. The corner of Jian Wushuang's mouth lifted to form a smile. He felt no surprise whatsoever. He knew Patriarch of Empyrean Glory would agree because that was the only way the latter would be able to kill him. Jian Wushuang didn't wish for fourth sister to risk her life for him. Neither did he want to kill off Zhu Xiu, he still wanted to get secrets out of the latter. Thus, he gave Patriarch of Empyrean Glory such a chance. Third brother. Su Ru glanced at him. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Jian Wushuang smiled. He was no fool. Since he dared to demand 3 head-on moves from Patriarch of Empyrean Glory, he would naturally have the means to take it. I've learned 3 sword principles in the Heaven and Earth rank. I'm not weaker than ordinary Celestial Master experts. Moreover, I have the blood-killing plate armor for self-protection. Though it's not enough to beat Patriarch of Empyrean Glory, it wouldn't be easy for him to kill me with just 3 moves, Jian Wushuang muttered. Up above the void, Su Ru, Celestial Master Dong Ming, and the other spectators were already standing on the fringe of the battleground, leaving plenty of space for Jian Wushuang and Patriarch of Empyrean Glory. There was a distance of 1,000 miles between them as they confronted each other. I don't know where you found the confidence to take 3 of my moves head-on. But since you want to dig your own grave, I'll naturally help you. Dim light glinted in Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's pupils. The ruthless aura that he was emanating turned even more ferocious. Show me your best moves. Jian Wushuang gripped his Blood Mountain sword, his sword essence bursting forth and surging toward the sky. The crowd of spectators couldn't help holding their breath at the sight of the rise of their 2 auras. Suddenly, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory made his move. Brat, this is my first move. His voice shook the sky, the sound echoing through the void. Simultaneously, an explosion of light burst forth from within him. His right palm was immediately scorched black, and a terrifying power that seemed capable of destroying heaven and earth rapidly concentrated on the palm. In the blink of an eye, the condensation of power reached its pinnacle. Concealed bat palm. With a wave of his hand, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory immediately grabbed at Jian Wushuang at a lightning speed. The pitch-black palm continuously enlarged in the void until it was large enough to cover the sky. In a flash, it emerged in front of Jian Wushuang. The boundless pressure crushed the space easily, causing the pupils of the spectators to rapidly shrink. Such incredible might. Is this the strength of a Celestial Master expert? No. Ordinary Holy Master experts wouldn't possess such powerful strength. After all, the one who's making a move is Patriarch of Empyrean Glory. Exclamations resounded one after another. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory was indeed an infamous character. It was precisely his powerful and unyielding might that earned him such fame. Jian Wushuang's expression was exceptionally solemn when he saw the large, pitch-black palm that had crushed the void around it flying toward him. He immediately swung his sword in response. His action carried the power of his 3 sword principles. An incredibly violent sword light descended. This sword light was strong and imbued with yang energy. It carried an aura that seemed capable of wiping out everything before it. It was as if it could rip apart and destroy every scenery. The attack that Jian Wushuang produced was the strongest one in his repertoire, earth-shattering style. Bang! The terrifying sword light and the lightning-fast, pitch-black palm collided. All of a sudden, the world crashed. Sword shadows burst forth inside the void that experienced a frantic collision, easily carving massive space rifts in the void. Crash! It felt as if the entire world was being mercilessly torn apart. Humph! Jian Wushuang's muffled snort rang as he was flung away by the force of the collision. He was forced backward several tens of thousands of miles. Once he regained firm footing, he felt a metallic taste in his mouth and promptly coughed up blood. The gap between of us sure is big. He stared fixedly at Patriarch of Empyrean Glory, secretly shaking his head. He had improved his strength significantly ever since the three-sword principles that he created reached the heaven and earth rank. It was already very close to the strength of an ordinary Holy Master expert. Even so, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory immediately crushed him. Evidently, his opponent was far stronger than ordinary Holy Master experts. On the other side, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory was frowning. "Looks like I've really underestimated you, brat. I didn't expect your strength to be so close to that of a Holy Master," he said loudly. His words immediately prompted cries of surprise among the spectators. To think that an Eternal Realm expert would possess battle strength close to that of an ordinary Celestial Master. This fact was inconceivable to them. "Humph. Don't feel so proud of yourself. That move isn't my strongest unique kill and I've merely used 70% of my strength. I'll be using my full strength in my second move," Patriarch of Empyrean Glory said with a sneer. Jian Wushuang's pupils shrunk against his will. He was on his guard. When he was done speaking, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory slowly lifted his hand. This time, his palm harbored a power that was formed out of two mingling forces. The two mingling forces, which were evidently different yet were perfectly melded by Patriarch of Empyrean Glory. The airflow that revolved around the periphery of his palm took on two colors, one black, and the other a flame-like red. With the combination of the two strengths, his might suddenly increased sharply. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory once again made his move. This time, he threw a punch. The punch caused explosions that detonated the void. The fist that was wrapped in two mingling forces of black and red harbored enormous strength. It directly streaked across several tens of thousands of miles to arrive in front of Jian Wushuang. It was frighteningly fast. It was so fast that Jian Wushuang couldn't react in time to withstand it. He could only watch as the clenched fist crossed the layers of bombardment to hit his body. Jian Wushuang felt as if a meteorite had struck him. Even with his blood-killing plate armor diluting nearly 90% of that frightening power, the remaining power still wreaked havoc in his body and caused him to tremble violently. Fart. Blood spouted from Jian Wushuang's mouth. Mixed in the blood was traces of his flesh. He was fiercely thrown backward tens of thousands of miles, knocking into countless mountains. In the end, he was embedded inside a large mountain wall. Boom! The mountain immediately fell apart, causing an explosion of crushed rocks. Jian Wushuang once again appeared in the world. Only now, he was battered and blooded all over. His face was so pale that it was nearly colorless. He was an incredibly sad sight. What a formidable move. Jian Wushuang was still experiencing lingering fears at the thought of the punch that he just took on. Not only was the previous punch exceptionally powerful, but it also harbored a secret strength. That secret strength was like ripples of vibration that pierced Jian Wushuang's defense and directly set off within him. That attack was so strange and mysterious that he didn't immediately notice it. His blood-killing plate armor had no way of warding off or weakening its might as well. Thus, it resulted in his current pathetic state. Chapter 1049 Writing Off at One Stroke. Chapter 1049 Writing Off at One Stroke. If the power in that punch is 20 or 30% stronger, perhaps I'd collapse entirely, Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. It's only the second move and he's already this strong. I wonder what his third move is. While he was watching attentively for the next attack, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory once again made his move. With a burst of dim light with him, he turned into his true body, the sky-devouring bat. With his now red eyes, he gazed at Jian Wushuang as he streaked across the void with his enormous body. Eep! Suddenly, a high-pitched hiss reverberated in the air. The sound caused a series of strange ripples that caused black airflow to surge forth. In a split second, the black airflow filled the entire sky and enveloped Jian Wushuang. What is this? Jian Wushuang's expression was grave as he grappled with feelings of doubt. Engulfing darkness, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory cried in a cold voice. The black airflow rapidly turned into shock waves that charged at Jian Wushuang from all directions. The shock waves came one after another, so many that it was countless. Oh no! Jian Wushuang's expression drastically changed. These shock waves traveled swiftly toward Jian Wushuang, who stood amid the black airflow. He was alarmed that he had no way of dodging the shock waves and that he could only depend on the surface of his body alone for defense. The only option left was to stubbornly resist these shock waves. Boom! 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 The shock waves were extremely powerful and unyielding, the force in each wave equivalent to a celestial master making a strike with his full strength. Yet Patriarch of Empyrean Glory was able to unleash more than 100 shock waves in such a short time to bombard Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was frantically trembling all over. Moments later, the shock waves finally subsided, and the boundless black airflow also thoroughly dissipated among the void. The entire world came to a standstill. Is he dead? Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's eyes were steely as he fixed his gaze on the fully exposed space in the void. His expression abruptly changed. The crowd of spectators also noticed the figure amid the chaotic airflow at the same time. How is this possible? Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's face was full of shock. That was his strongest move. It was strong enough to thoroughly crush a celestial master with ease. Jian Wushuang might have decent defense measures, but he ought to be reduced into dust after taking that strike. Yet, Jian Wushuang remained standing in the void. Though he was soaked in blood and a thoroughly sad sight, his body was perfectly intact. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory noticed Jian Wushuang's bright, fervent gaze. Apparently the brat was still alive. I win the bet, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory, Jian Wushuang shouted. But the moment he finished speaking, blood began gushing out of his mouth. Everyone could tell that he was severely injured. But no matter how bad his condition was, he was still alive. He survived Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's 3 very strong and unyielding attacks. I don't think even a celestial master expert could survive such fearsome attacks. But he managed to do it. Just how exactly did he survive the attacks? Voices of disbelief began resounding among the crowd. These numerous gazes that landed on Jian Wushuang were filled with shock and horror. What these people didn't know was that Jian Wushuang was full of mirth inside. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's final move was terrifying indeed, and much stronger than the first 2 moves. Yet it caused less damage to me than the second strike did, Jian Wushuang muttered. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's second move was a terribly strong punch that concentrated all of his power into a single point before allowing it to explode upon contact. Moreover, the punch contained ripples of vibrations that directly reached the inside of his body. That was why it was so terrifying and brought him such grave injuries. However, there was no concentration of power in the third move. Though its destructive power was higher, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's power was scattered. The force contained in each of the shock waves was equivalent to a mere single strike from a celestial master. Though there were more than 100 of them, Jian Wushuang was able to use his blood-killing plate armor to eliminate 99% of their force. The remaining force left barely hurt him. Even though there were hundreds of such injuries, they could only severely injure Jian Wushuang at most. Surprisingly, the third move was a lot less effective than the second move. I suppose Patriarch of Empyrean Glory didn't know just how amazing your blood-killing plate armor is. If he repeats his second move, I don't think you'll be able to survive it. Jiyu King's voice reverberated in Jian Wushuang's mind. You're right. Jian Wushuang grinned. In the end, he owed it all to the armor with exceptional defense capabilities. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory had guessed that Jian Wushuang was wearing some sort of self-protection robe, but he never once thought that the robe would have such incredible defense capability. I've given you your chance to kill me, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory, but you aren't strong enough to kill me with 3 moves. Then, according to our bet, you must write off all the grudge between us. With so many people around, I assume you won't go back on your word. Jian Wushuang turned to look at Patriarch of Empyrean Glory. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's expression immediately darkened with displeasure. When he agreed to Jian Wushuang's bet, He never once thought that a celestial master expert that was close to the peak level would be unable to kill the latter even after unleashing his full strength. To make things worse, how could he break his promise and attack Jian Wushuang again with so many people watching? More importantly, even if he paid no mind to his reputation and attacked Jian Wushuang, he might still fail to kill the latter. It might just turn out to be a life and death struggle instead. Jian Wushuang, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's gloomy voice rang out. I admit that you're strong and I respect that. For as long as I've lived, I've never once respected someone from the bottom of my heart. You're the first. I won't begrudge you for killing my son. From today onward, there's no more grudge between us. If nothing else happens, I won't chase after you anymore. You should behave accordingly from here on. With a flick of his sleeves, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory turned around and immediately made his exit. His subordinates, the 10 Great Protectors, also followed suit. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory, Celestial Master Dongming was alarmed to see this turn of events. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory ignored him and traveled forward along with his 10 Great Protectors under the watchful eye of the spectators. The determination was reflected in his eyes, but even more so was helplessness. Little Yang, I'm sorry for being useless. Your enemy is simply too strong. I've already tried my best but I still failed to avenge you. Please forgive me. With a heart filled with helplessness and sorrow, Patriarch of Empyrean Glory swiftly disappeared from everyone's vision alongside his subordinates. Chapter 1050, The Dust Has Settled. Chapter 1050, The Dust Has Settled. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory had finally left. He had left so firmly and decisively. With him gone, the only one remaining was Celestial Master Dongming of the ancient demon clan. Naturally, Dongming alone posed much less of a threat to Jian Wushuang. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory has left. Aren't you joining him, Celestial Master Dongming? Do you want me to chase you away? Jian Wushuang asked, chuckling. Dongming's face darkened before he replied, the ancient demon clan is willing to forget what you've done as long as you're willing to let Zhu Jian go. Moreover, we're willing to be on good terms with you. We'll even treat you like our esteemed guest if you visit us. What say you? Oh! Jian Wushuang raised an eyebrow. The crowd of spectating experts began sighing one after another upon hearing Dongming's words. They could hear the defeat in those words. The fact was that he had no choice but to admit defeat. Jian Wushuang's self-protection methods were too strong. Were it not because he was unwilling to kill Zhu Xiu, he would have vanished completely and there would be nothing that the ancient demon clan could do about it. Do you know how much effort I spent to capture him? But you think you can just say a few sentences and convince me to let him off? You sure know how to daydream, Jian Wushuang said with a sneer. Jian Wushuang, are you really bent on making the ancient demon clan your enemy? Dongming asked angrily. I'm aware of your origin. Our clan ought to have nothing to do with you and neither have we ever offended you. Just why exactly are you refusing to let Zhu Jian go? Why? Jian Wushuang laughed out loud. His eyes turned exceptionally sharp and cold. Did you think I'm so idle as to provoke your clan for no reason? Humph. Let me tell you just how immense the grudge between your clan and me is. Dao Master Zhu Jian, no, Zhu Xiu. 2,000 years ago in the ancient world, he kidnapped my mother and exterminated her clan. He even stole the soul of my father's sword and forced him to a corner. I was so weak back then, I wasn't even in the skyscraping realm. I had no way of preventing this from happening. Now, 2,000 years have passed and I still have no idea where my mother is. Meanwhile 2,000 years ago, my father chose a near-certain path of becoming a reincarnator just so he could see my mother again. He caused all of this. Celestial Master Dongming, what say you? Do you still think there's no grudge between Dao Master Zhu Jian and me? Jian Wushuang chuckled. Such an immense grudge, yet you dare say there's no grudge. It's a pity that I'm currently not strong enough. Otherwise, I would have razed your entire clan to the ground. Jian Wushuang's icy-cold voice full of endless fury reverberated in the air, shocking all the spectating experts around him. Dongming appeared deeply stunned. Zhu Xiu kidnapped your mother? 2,000 years ago in the ancient world? Isn't that? He stared at Jian Wushuang in shock. Jian Wushuang is the son that she left behind in the ancient world. It's him. Dong Ming was completely stupefied. 2,000 years ago, Jian Wushuang was just a kid. Yet in that short span of time, the child that his clan had ignored and even despised for having inferior bloodline, had unexpectedly grown up to be this strong. How was this possible? After a brief shock, Dong Ming sank into silence. He finally spoke after a long silence. Jian Wushuang. Even his tone became strange. Your mother is one of our clansmen, and that essentially makes you one of us, he said. The ancient demon clan? Jian Wushuang sneered. How could I be good enough to be a part of one of the 4 great clans with such incredible information bank and great strength? Whether or not you're willing to admit it, you share part of our clan's blood flowing through you. I finally found my answer as to why you were able to use the ancient god power. It seems that you've coincidentally awakened your ancient god bloodline, Dongming replied. Our clan possesses both the ancient god and divine demon bloodlines, though the latter was our main bloodline. The bloodline awakened in most of our clansmen was the divine demon bloodline as well, but every now and then, there would be certain clansmen who would awaken the ancient god bloodline. You're one of those clansmen. Clamor began rising in the crowd after they heard Dong Ming's words. They never once expected that there would be such a sharp turn of events. To think this man who suppressed Dao Master Zhu Jian and caused himself to be so frantically hunted would have such a wondrous relationship with the ancient demon clan. Jian Wushuang, it's true that our ancient demon clan has owed you and your father. I can understand why you'd take such a drastic action against us. But I hope you can guarantee Zhu Jian's safety because it'll do your mother good if he's still alive. That's all I have to say. Dong Ming promptly turned around and took leave after leaving behind these words. Despite his earlier rage and desire to put Jian Wushuang to death, he could no longer find it himself to be angry after learning that the latter was the son left behind in the ancient world back then. Neither he cared for Dong Ming any longer. With that, even Dong Ming was gone. But the words he left behind made Jian Wushuang frown. It'll do mother good if Zhu Xiu is still alive. He narrowed his eyes as many thoughts surfaced on his mind. But he swiftly shook his head and stopped mulling over it. Whatever it is, the crisis this time is now over and Zhu Xiu is in my hands. I can slowly come up with a way to make him talk. Third brother. Su Ru walked over to Jian Wushuang. Staring at his blooded body and pale face, she said in a worried voice, "How are you?" "I'm fine," Jian Wushuang said, smiling. Despite sustaining injuries after forcefully receiving 3 of Patriarch of Empyrean Glory's attacks, Jiyu King didn't stop healing him from within. Right now, he was basically in a steady condition and he would recover completely before long. Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and Celestial Master Dong Ming might be gone now, but it's hard to say if they won't continue making trouble for you. How about you return to the Blood Azura clan with me, just in case? Su Ru suggested. The Blood Azura clan? Jian Wushuang's heart jumped. He muttered to himself for a moment before giving a small nod. He then promptly followed after Su Ru and left for the Blood Azura clan. Chapter 1051, Blood Azura Clan. Chapter 1051, Blood Azura Clan. The Blood Azura clan was located on towering mountains dotted with numerous palace lofts. It was a pleasing sight that displayed just how majestic the clan was. Is this the home to one of 4 great clans? Blood Azura clan? Jian Wushuang followed Su Ru into the clan, his gaze darting around to take in his surroundings. This clan, along with the ancient demon clan, was the strongest out of the 4 great clans. Azura Lord. Greetings, Azura Lord. They stumbled across numerous clansmen along the way, all of whom possessed great physical strength. But when they saw Su Ru, they would salute her, their absolute deference coming from the bottom of their hearts. Azura Lord was essentially an existence equivalent to an emperor in the Blood Azura clan. When Jian Wushuang arrived in front of a tall mountain, he heard a whooshing sound as multiple silhouettes flitted before him in a straight line. The leader was an elderly woman dressed in a grey robe. The woman had a wizened face and greying hair on the temples, but her eyes were bright and energetic. Celestial Master? Jian Wushuang's heart jolted. He thought to himself that this was indeed one of the great clans. Their strength as a clan was truly commendable. It must be known that Su Ru relied on the Eye of Azura to get a Celestial Master expert under her control. The existence of this elderly woman meant the clan had at least 2 Celestial Master experts and might even have more. Azura Lord. The elderly woman made a subtle salute at Su Ru. Great Elder Lin Li, did something happen? Su Ru stared at her dully. I heard that you left with a group of experts earlier. I wonder what's so important that you must personally make your move, the elderly woman, Great Elder Lin Li, inquired. Something happened earlier but it's already resolved. You can rest assured, Great Elder, Su Ru replied emotionlessly. Oh. Lin Li gave a small nod and refrained from asking any further. She couldn't help glancing at Jian Wushuang behind Su Ru. Azura Lord, who is this person next to you? He's my brother, Jian Wushuang, Su Ru replied. Greetings, Great Elder Jin Li, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Jian Wushuang? Lin Li's pupils shrunk. You're Jian Wushuang? You're the one whom Patriarch of Empyrean Glory offered a huge reward for and offended the entire ancient demon clan not long after? That's me. Jian Wushuang gave a helpless smile. Lin Li's face turned grave. Azura Lord, Jian Wushuang's head is wanted by Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and the ancient demon clan. It won't do our clan any favors to bring him here. You worry too much, Great Elder, Su Ru replied. The grudge between Third Brother and Patriarch of Empyrean Glory has already been solved. Third Brother has also confronted the ancient demon clan and the situation isn't as bad as you describe it to be. Is that so? Lin Li frowned. She had only heard about Patriarch of Empyrean Glory hunting Jian Wushuang down, but not what happened afterward. If you don't have anything to add, I'll be leaving. Without bothering to engage in idle chatter with Lin Li, Su Ru continued moving forward with Jian Wushuang behind her. The two of them trod upon the void above the Blood Azura clan side by side. The experts under Su Ru's control had been dismissed. Fourth sister, what's up with that woman Lin Li? There's something odd about the way she looked at you earlier, Jian Wushuang asked. Lin Li appeared to be harboring complex emotions while talking to Su Ru earlier. Though she hid it well, Jian Wushuang was still able to notice it. It's normal. Su Ru laughed, looking as if she was used to it. Third Brother, there's something you don't know about our clan. Here, there are 3 people with the top positions and influences. The first is my master, the Supreme Elder as well as the top expert of our clan. His word carries enormous weight here and no one dares go against him. The second is the woman you met earlier, Great Elder Lin Li. Being a Great Elder, she naturally commands significant authority. Moreover, my master typically doesn't show interest in the clan's affairs and she's the one who's responsible for most things. The third and last one is me. Su Ru smiled faintly as she continued, our clan attaches greater importance to bloodline purity than other clans in the Samsara continent. In fact, at our clan's peak many years ago, our influence envelops the entire Greenfire world and even many parts of the ancient world. This results in the Blood Azura bloodline being found in every corner of the Greenfire world. Our clan typically doesn't concern itself with those who inherited our bloodline, allowing them to live and die as they please. They've even forgotten that there are clansmen as well. But should there someone among them who has awakened an exceptionally pure bloodline, our clan will have a way of detecting it. We will then immediately retrieve this pure-blooded clansman. I'm one of those people who live in the branch families of the clan. Back when I first awakened my bloodline in the ancient world and the Eye of Azura, the clan had also immediately detected my existence. Thus, my master came personally to retrieve me. The purity level of my awakened bloodline is so high that I'm considered the one and only with such bloodline in the clan. Coupled with the Eye of Azura, my master easily made up his mind to make me Azura Lord. Azura Lord is equivalent to the position of the Emperor of the Blood Azura clan. Under ordinary circumstances, even my master has to listen to my orders. Naturally, Lin Li has to follow my command as well. Su Ru hesitated momentarily before continuing, Before this, Lin Li basically commanded an absolute authority over the clan. However, my existence robbed her of all of her power. Of course, she wouldn't feel happy about it and bear grievances against me. I see. Jian Wushuang nodded. He finally understood why Su Ru had left all those years ago and why she had become a Jura Lord in just a short span of 2,000 years. Fourth sister, it's been 2,000 years ago since we last met. Now you're doing far better than us three older brothers, he said, sighing with emotion. Did eldest brother and second brother come to the Green Fire world as well? Su Ru asked. Yes, Jian Wushuang said, nodding. He then chuckled. They're now in the Tang of the east of the Void Continent. Once I've clarified some of my personal affairs, I'll take you there and we can finally reunite. Great. Su Ru smiled. Oh right. Why did you come to the Samsara continent and even get yourself into trouble with Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and the ancient demon clan? Well, here is the thing. Jian Wushuang gave her a brief and simple explanation. Chapter 1052, Special Person. Chapter 1052, Special Person. Su Ru couldn't help sighing after hearing Jian Wushuang's story. So that's what happened. Your father became a reincarnator? She knew how cruel the cultivation of a reincarnator was. I've already requested the help of Elder Ding Mo of the Samsara Temple to find my father several days ago. I think I'll get an answer in a few days, Jian Wushuang said. I'm sure an elder of the inner hall of the temple would definitely help you find your father, Su Ru replied. Let's hope so. Inside a large courtyard halfway up the mountain housed the Blood Azura clan. Third brother, please make this your home for the moment and take your time to recuperate. If you need anything, feel free to call for me, Su Ru said. All right. Jian Wushuang made a small nod. He wouldn't be overly courteous to her. Su Ru soon took leave. Now Jian Wushuang alone sat upright beside a stone table. Jian Wushuang, as for Zhu Xiu, what do you plan to do with him? Ji Yu King's voice suddenly resounded. Zhu Xiu? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes, his gaze landing on Zhu Xiu who was being suppressed inside his sword mountain. Zhu Xiu sure is stubborn. I triggered all the restrictions within the sword and tormenting him for so long, but he's still refusing to talk. Jian Wushuang's gaze was steely. That's only natural. The current restrictions are useless and I've no way of triggering anything stronger at the moment. Moreover, Celestial Master Dong Ming said that it'll do Mother good to keep Zhu Xiu alive. I don't know if he's telling the truth, but then again, I'm not in a hurry to kill him. I'll just keep him suppressed in the Sword Mountain then. Jian Wushuang was feeling helpless as well. He had planned to force Zhu Xiu to reveal his mother's whereabouts. However, the latter refused to speak. There was nothing he could do about it. Now, all I can do is wait for Elder Ding Mo's news. Jian Wushuang immediately started healing his injuries while waiting for news from Elder Ding Mo. Several days later, Ding Mo finally contacted him. Jian Wushuang, I heard you escape unscathed after Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and Celestial Master Dong Ming of the ancient demon clan teamed up to hunt you. How powerful. He had already caused such a great commotion after being pursued in the first place. Later on, he made a bet with Patriarch of Empyrean Glory and survived 3 of his attacks head-on in front of such a large audience. Naturally, the news spread far and wide. Of course Ding Mo, as an elder of the inner hall of the Samsara Temple, would hear about it. Just a stroke of good luck. Moreover, a Jura Lord showed up and helped me tide over this crisis. Otherwise, Jian Wushuang said, imagining the possible outcome. A Jura Lord of the Blood Azura clan? TSK, TSK. I never thought you'd share such a friendship with her, Ding Mo said. Elder Ding Mo, I'm sure you're contacting me because you've made progress in my request. Jian Wushuang went straight to the point, giving Ding Mo no chance to waste time on idle chatter. You're right. Moreover, I'm sure it ought to be good news to you, Ding Mo replied. Good news. Jian Wushuang was initially overjoyed, but a frown colored his expression just as quickly. What do you mean ought to? I used my authority to begin investigating, starting from your next of kin's origins and the time period in which he became a reincarnator. I did found someone matching the description, Ding Mo began to explain. Did you find him? Jian Wushuang's heart tightened. Calm down, Ding Mo said. I did discover the existence of such a person. But the odd thing is that I only found the information on him before he became the rank 5 reincarnator and below but not those above. Yet my investigation reveals that he isn't one of the current rank 5 reincarnators of the Samsara Temple. What do you mean? Jian Wushuang frowned. What did it mean that he could only find the information before this man became rank 5 reincarnators and below but not those above? Did this mean that my father failed in the rank 5 reincarnator test and died? He's not dead. If he hadn't survived the test, his information would have been completely obliterated. He currently has information available to rank 5 reincarnators but not those above, yet he himself isn't among the rank 5 reincarnators of the Samsara Temple. If this happens in the Samsara continent, there's only one explanation for it, Ding Mo said solemnly. What is it? Jian Wushuang immediately asked. He's a special person who means a great deal or poses a great function for the Samsara Temple, Ding Mo said. Special person? Jian Wushuang was stunned. There is a very rare group of people in the Samsara Temple. They're so special that the temple holds them in the highest of regards. So information about them is top secret. Not even an elder of the inner hall like me has the right to read it. As far as I know, there are currently no more than 10 of such special persons in the Samsara Temple. It serves to reason that your family member should be one of them. Ding Mo's voice was rather solemn. Each special person of the Samsara Temple is equivalent to a precious treasure. In terms of status, they were much more important than a mere elder of the inner hall like me. I see, Jian Wushuang said, his expression also becoming strange. So my father is a special person whom the Samsara Temple attaches much importance to? Jian Wushuang, the reason why I say that it's a good news to you is that such special persons would be very well protected. Under ordinary circumstances, they'd never die. Since your family member is a special person, he ought to be living well and even has a higher status than me in the Samsara Temple, Ding Mo continued. I understand. Thank you very much, Elder Ding Mo. Jian Wushuang heaved a sigh, a smile finally emerging on his face. Even though Ding Mo didn't manage to find his father's whereabouts, the former nevertheless still told him one piece of good news. If father truly holds a high status in the Samsara Temple, he must be fairly influential. I caused such a great commotion in the divine demon domain, so maybe he has already heard of it. Who knows if he's already making plans to come and find me? Jian Wushuang said with a smile, joy buoying his heart. Once the communication was over, Jian Wushuang went to look for Su Ru. Fourth sister, I need your help, he said. Your business is my business. Don't be so polite. Su Ru smiled at him. She had always considered him as her biological brother. He chuckled and no longer tried to be courteous. I need you to use your influence to keep an eye on the top experts of the Samsara Temple and see if any of them resemble my father. Moreover, there's the ancient demon clan as well. Since their clan and yours are the two top clans among the 4 great clans, I'm sure there are a lot of explicit and covert fights going on each day, so much so that both clans know each other well. I need you to help me investigate my mother's whereabouts in the ancient demon clan. Chapter 1053, 120 years. Chapter 1053, 120 years. That is simple. Su Ru agreed heartily. The tasks of keeping an eye for any high-leveled warriors of the Samsara Temple or seeking out information of Jian Wushuang's mother from the ancient demon clan were hardly difficult for the Blood Azura clan. There is another matter. A thin smile lined across Jian Wushuang's face. As one of the greatest tribes of the Samsara continent, the Blood Azura clan must have birthed a great many experts skilled in using the sword. Surely there are plenty of manuscripts or manuals left by these powerful forefathers of your clan? That is true. We do indeed have many manuscripts and manuals on swordplay. Su Ru nodded. With your permission, I would like to borrow them for my study. They will all be returned safely before I leave. I shall gladly pay the price of this favor. Jian Wushuang said. Focused intently only in the study of wielding the sword, Zhen Wushuang has yet only reached the universe level despite having been inspired to create 3 new sword principles of his own. The 3 sword principles of his own creation still has a great room for improvement. A flaw which could only be improved by conducting more research with the manuscripts left by the powerful swordsmen of old. That will not matter. These are but old and dusty books. I will have them brought to you if you have need of them. There shall be no need for any repayment for the favor. Su Ru remarked with a smile. With a twitch of his eyebrows, Zhen Wushuang nodded graciously. Su Ru then took her leave to make the arrangements. Does this mean that you intend to stay here, for now, Zhen Wushuang? The Jiyu king asked. Indeed. Zhen Wushuang nodded. I have done all I could for now. With no need for hastiness, I might as well stay here to find ways to improve myself. I would have not had to worry so much and I would never have to try by means of Juxiu if only I have greater strength. I could have easily gotten all answer to my questions by going directly to the lair of the ancient demon clan. That is true. Power is everything in this domain. Your present strength puts you at merely a hair's breadth away from most holy masters. And when you have found ways to enhance any one of your sword principles to the creation level and heighten your ancient god power, you will possess the true battle strength of a holy master. And then, you will reign supreme throughout the green fire world. The Jiyu king illustrated smilingly. That is so. Jiang Wushuang remarked, smiling himself. Before long, the manuscripts about various sword principles reached Zhen Wushuang's doorsteps. They have been delivered as charged by Su Ru. With a long and illustrious history, the Blood Azura clan has an extensive collection of manuscripts left behind by the many swordsmen of the past. There were some which were of foreign origins, procured and kept by the clan till now. The sword principle manuals were mostly on the newly created disciplines devised by the swordsmen of the clan. The disciplines were hardly complex nor powerful, yet they each have their own distinctive features. These were, nonetheless, painstaking and meticulous creations by the hands of their authors. Damn! There are 188 types of sword principles here in amongst the manuscripts which have been delivered to me, all fully recorded in detail. The eyes of Zhen Wushuang blushed with surprise and joy. Despite seemingly ordinary and yet diverse in nature, the 188 sword principles was, in fact, the very thing required by Zhen Wushuang to perfect his mastery in coalescent sword principle. It is through the multitudes of diverse styles of the sword, he has to learn the ability to assimilate them all into one unified style. The artistry of coalescing different and varying sword principles into one, single entity. It was from henceforth, Zhen Wushuang began his stay amongst the clan of Blood Azura, studying on his own in the courtyard of his lodgings, delving intently into the secrets and teachings of swordsmanship and the many sword principles before him. None of the Blood Azura clan would be hostile towards him, for he was a guest of the Azura lord of the clan. Su Ru would come occasionally to visit. But at most times, life was quiet and tranquil there. And from the peace and quiet, Jiang Wushuang was able to enjoy himself as he focused all his thoughts on improving his own skills. Time passed swiftly and unnoticed. In a mere blink of an eye, 120 years have fleeted by. In a chamber of the palace of the Blood Azura clan drenched in darkness and held by a restrictive magical barrier, a large, circular table sat in the middle of the hall. The dark silhouettes of figures could be seen sitting at the table. Perched in the main seat was the great elder Lin Li of the Blood Azura clan. Tomorrow is the supreme council of our clan, the council which is held every 1,000 years. The girl would most certainly be present, and she will demand that I relinquish my control of the Azura guards. Lin Li's eyes flashed dangerously with malice in the darkness. The girl's presence has slowly been smothering what is left of our powers all these years. We have almost nothing now. The command of the Azura guards is the strongest card in my hand. To surrender it would only render us weak and helpless before her. The darkened figures of the elders of the clan stirred uneasily at her words, obviously displeased with the envisaged outcome. These were the closest associates of Lin Li, all of whom looked up to him as their chief and captain. Even now, despite his diminishing authority, they have and would remain steadfast by his side. They knew well, with the emergence of Azura Lord, the Lord now has assumed command and control of the affairs of the clan. This had culminated in the unmistakable pruning and trimming which have usurped Lin Li of much of her authority. This was hardly debatable, as Azura Lord has been showered with love by the people of the clan. Yet, there remained certain cliques, namely Lin Li's, within Azura Lord's court which have been displeased by this. That is but a mere sapling that has not even reached the age of 2000. I only fear that our clan may one day be hunted and slaughtered by the ancient demon clan or the other two greater clans if this decadence continues. I really have not the foggiest of what the old Su Qian is thinking of. Lin Li said frostily. Su Qian was the teacher of Su Ru, who was also the most powerful upper elder of the Blood Azura, one whose words bore great weight within the clan. But he had left the clan more than 1,000 years ago, embarking on a pilgrimage that has yet to see its end. But if Su Qian has been at the side of Su Ru, Lin Li would never dare to voice her discontent, nor would she dare to devise any devious schemes for a coup. But as Su Qian remained elusive, Lin Li's insolence grew, as had her thirst for power. I have been able to ward off the extending tendrils of her ambition when she had demanded for the control of the Azura Guards in the Supreme Council 1,000 years ago. I had cited her inexperience in the affairs of the clan and her unfamiliarity with the state of the Samsara continent as reasons for my refusal. I am afraid it may not be easy now to avert her away. Lin Li remarked darkly. I will need a good and solid reason to deny her again. Did we not have a guest amongst us, an outsider who has been invited here by Azura Lord, Great Elder? One of the elder champions of the clan asked. You mean Zhen Wushuang? Lin Li's eyes twinkled suddenly. Indeed, I have almost forgotten about him. It is known that Zhen Wushuang has a great many enemies, including the Empyrean Patriarch and the ancient demon clan who had once tried to hunt him down. I believe we may use this as a pretense, since we of the Blood Azura clan have always been at odds with the ancient demon clan. With pretenses such as this, coupled with a few comments about the failings of the girl, I will refuse her request to surrender the control of the Azura Guard. Chapter 1054, The Summons. Chapter 1054, The Summons. The Supreme Council of the Blood Azura clan, the most important council which convened every 1,000 years, began the following day. Sitting the courtyard of the lodging perched at the middle of a hill, Zhen Wushuang was alone, enjoying his wine as a smile broke out on his face. Never have I thought that the Chaos Gold Bead would have such powers. It is not even 200 years, and yet, I have already achieved the peak strength of the 3-star ancient god. Zhen Wushuang reveled jubilantly. That is a Chaos Gold Bead, an extremely invaluable treasure even in the eternal chaotic world. And even that alone could not fully illustrate its greatness. Then again, I myself did not expect that you could reach the pinnacle of the 3-star in just 2 centuries. It must have something to do with the methods in which you trained. The Jiyu King muttered. The methods of inverse cultivation is really unique indeed, that it is completely of another level. Most other 3-star ancient gods would have needed at least 1 millennium to fully consume a Chaos Gold Bead. To think that you took only 2 centuries and you are almost at the end of your undertaking. Zhen Wushuang smiled without saying anything. Out of the few treasures that he had acquired from Dao Yuanzi, the Chaos Gold Bead was the most effective item that has been a great boon to his improvements. In the past century, Zhen Wushuang has been absorbing the essence of the Chaos Gold Bead to enhance his ancient god power. Now, Zhen Wushuang has absorbed 2/3 Ophal essence of the Chaos Gold Bead. His ancient god power has risen to the pinnacle of 3 stars. The level of the 3-star ancient god ranked atop common man and ancient gods, wielding strength greater than even that of the Dao Masters at the peak of rank 3. I have been meticulously studying the sword principle manuscripts of the Blood Azura clan for the past century. There have been breakthroughs in my mastery of swordsmanship. Added with the improvements of my ancient god power, my overall strength is a lot greater now. Despite still being of the level of the Eternal Realm, I believe I might even have the strength to compete with a Holy Master. Zhen Wushuang added with a smile. You jest. Although I can only speak for myself, but you can hardly be viewed as one of the Eternal Realm anymore. Even in the eternal chaotic world, you will also be treated as a Dao Master. Then again, There are many more practitioners and warriors whose powers could easily dwarf yours in the wide domain of the eternal chaotic world. The Jiyu king remarked indignantly. That I know too. Surely there is no need for such harsh words. Jiang Wushuang smiled and replied. Leeching himself into Jian Wushuang's body, the Jiyu king and Jian Wushuang had become the best of friends. Thus their conversations discussed many things, bringing them closer than ever. Ah, yes. I know that I have to discover a path of my own to reach the level of Tao Master, and I now possess the necessary requirements to achieve the breakthrough whenever I want to. But what are the differences between the levels of Tao Master and Holy Master, Jiyu King? Jiang Wushuang asked his companion. With only enemies of the Holy Master level wielding enough strength that would pose as threats to him now, Jian Wushuang would definitely want to know as much as he could about the level of the Holy Master. Holy Masters are also Tao Masters in essence. But Holy Masters have to apply their each individual paths of awareness into the shaping of their very own dharmic bodies of true invincibility. To apply one's own singular path unto oneself to shape one's own dharmic body of true invincibility. The revelation had Jian Wushuang taken aback by surprise as he remembered of the two Holy Masters he once fought against. During his battle against the patriarch of the Xia clan, Xia Yong, and the Empyrean patriarch, they had employed the use of two distinctly varying types of energies. Yet the two energies were able to fuse and coalesce perfectly together. That might have been the effects that had followed after one had embodied two different paths of martial awareness. Everything will have to return to the initial when you have reached the level of Holy Master. The many sword principles which you have devised on your own and the two original bodies of yours will all be embodied as one singular existence of you. The Jiyu king said to him. What? Jian Wushuang uttered in surprise. Even my two original bodies will have to be fused together. His two original bodies have been a great help to him all these while. It was hardly a surprise that Jian Wushuang would feel sorry for not having them both anymore. This is a step both necessary and unavoidable. The Jiyu king commented dryly. Jian Wushuang gave a bitter laugh, for he himself was also aware of that. There was no other option for him. He would have to embody both of his original bodies as one in order to achieve greater heights. Just then, whoosh, whoosh, two shadowy figures appeared out of nowhere, landing within the courtyard. Jian Wushuang. The strangers were fully cloaked in grey. From their aura, Jian Wushuang could sense that they have reached the level of Tao Master. Clearly, they were amongst the greatest warriors of the Blood Azura clan. How can I help you, masters? Jian Wushuang turned and looked at them. The great elder of our clan, Lin Li, has summoned for your presence at once. A cold, masculine voice came from one of the two disguised strangers. Oh! Jian Wushuang's brows raised quizzically. For 120 years, Jian Wushuang has resided quietly and undisturbed in this abode of peace. No one has ever come to disrupt that peace, save for Su Ru, who has been coming to visit him occasionally. But suddenly today, the great elder Lin Li has sent for him. Despite his suspicions, Jian Wushuang rose to his feet nevertheless. Lead the way, gentlemen. Jian Wushuang assented with a smile. Led by the two cloaked figures, Jian Wushuang began walking towards a hill which sat at the center of the city of the Blood Azura clan. Roosted upon the great mound of the hill was a great hall. At its top alighted a handsome and richly chamber which was black in color and oval in shape. This chamber was the venue where the Supreme Council convened. The two cloaked strangers led Jian Wushuang into the expanse of the black chamber. We have Jian Wushuang, great elder. The male voice came again, and the two strangers retreated out of sight. Jian Wushuang stood alone in the middle of the space, as he took in the sight before him with interest. There was a huge round table before him. About 20 figures, obscured by shadows, seated at the table, each of them wielded strong and powerful auras. Yet, it was evident to him that the figures were separated into 3 different cliques. One of them was led by Su Ru, the Azura lord of the clan. It was a group of 6 to 7 people. There was another faction, led by the great elder Lin Li, with also the same number of supporters. The final clique of people would appear to be a faction not aligned to either side. But they had the most number of members at close to 10. Having extensive experiences himself, Jian Wushuang could immediately see that this was an internal strife between different factions of the Blood Azura clan. Third brother, Su Ru glanced at Jian Wushuang. He gave her a smile and walked towards her. In a hushed voice, he then asked her, "What is happening?" Su Ru gave him no verbal answer. Instead, she indicated to Lin Li with her head. Lin Li had been observing Jian Wushuang, the ends of her lips curling into a wicked smile. In an icy tone, her voice rumbled, "That is Jian Wushuang beside you, Your Majesty. I believe you are aware of his identity." "Of course." Su Ru nodded. "And why have you kept him here in the clan when you have been aware of his identity?" Lin Li growled menacingly. "For all these years, the ancient demon clan have been hostile towards us of the Blood Azura clan. That is all because he is here. Moreover, there is also the Empyrean Patriarch." Chapter 1055, Blinding Speed. Chapter 1055, Blinding Speed. We have never had any animosity with the Empyrean Patriarch, nor have we sought revenge or retribution against each other. Yet not long ago, a Dao master of our clan had inadvertently offended one of his protectors. A most trivial issue. In most cases, the matter would at most be resolved with a minor penalty. But they have immediately executed that Dao master, showing no ounce of leniency nor mercy. It is evident that the Empyrean Patriarch harbors intense hate towards our clan, and all these came because of Jian Wushuang. Lin Li's voice rose like a thunder, her nostrils flaring with fury. "Knowing that Jian Wushuang has a great many enemies thirsty for his blood, you have ill-advisedly decided to bring him here and have brought danger to our clan, and to shovel coal into the fire. I have had word that you have almost fought against the Empyrean Patriarch and the ancient demon clan, all for the sake of Jian Wushuang. This is nothing but folly and ignorance to endanger the fate of our clan for an alien." Her rousing words stirred even many elders of the clan, many of them who had been neutral. They frowned with dismay. "I believe you have no authority towards me, Lin Li?" Su Ru snarled ominously. "My respects, Your Majesty. You are the holy emperor of the Asuras, the sacred imperator of our clan whom we all revere and obey. I, of course, have no authority over your conduct. But with respects, I am afraid that your methods are still boorish, Your Majesty. You still have much to learn." Lin Li sneered. "Much you have blathered, only to conceal the fact that you refuse to relinquish control of the Azura guards." Su Ru taunted. Lin Li only snorted indignantly and said no more. Standing beside Su Ru, the exchange between her and Lin Li had not escaped Jian Wushuang's ears as he scoffed to himself with disgust. The ancient demon clan's animosity towards the Blood Azura clan stemmed from their rivalry as the two greatest tribes in the land. There has always been conspiracies and deceits between the two clans. Thus, it was of no surprise to him that the ancient demon clan had been preying on the Blood Azura clan. The Empyrean Patriarch and his men have always been known to be cruel and sadistic. It was also hardly surprising that anyone of the Blood Azura clan would have been slain by them, more so for one who had incurred their wrath. These were incidents as common as the melting of snow. But the cunning Lin Li was trying to hang the blame of both misfortunes over his head. It would be apparent that she was trying to use this as a pretense to aggravate and inconvenience Su Ru. Understanding the true intentions of Lin Li, Jian Wushuang rose to his feet at once. "Great Elder Lin Li, I confess that I have greatly inconvenienced the Blood Azura clan in the duration of my stay here. Hence, I am willing to repay the kindness shown to me and consider it as a recompensation for the pains that you have endured," Jian Wushuang declared as he produced an interspatial ring with a flick of his wrist. "There are 30 chaos gems in this ring. I believe this should be adequate remuneration." 30 chaos gems? Jian Wushuang could feel himself transfixed by dozens of stares upon him. An examination into the contents of the ring was done, and immediately the chilly stares and glances he felt turned softened. 30 chaos gems. "I must say I am impressed with your generosity, Master Jian," one of the elders muttered. Even the unfriendly eyes of Lin Li could not help but flash with a gleam of astonishment. But the great elder tried her best to maintain her composure and her frosty tone. 30 chaos gems. This, indeed, is a most valuable gift. But do you honestly believe that this compensation is fitting for the hardships you have caused to our clan, more notably the hatred of the Empyrean Patriarch and his minions? Oh! The twinkle in Jen Wushuang's eyes swiftly faded, only to be replaced by a cold fury suppressed within himself. I see. If the 30 gems are hardly enough, you say. What about this? And what may that be? The words escaped the lips of Lin Li before she could rein herself. But sitting beside Jen Wushuang, Su Ru shifted in her seat uneasily. None of the elders and warriors present in the chamber had expected that Jen Wushuang would dare unleash his powers in a convention so high and sacred. Boom! A huge and terrifying aura surged from within Jen Wushuang, pouring out with the force of a broken dam that the enormous round table broke asunder. Jen Wushuang hurled himself forward with blinding speed like a fleeting apparition. This had caught the entire congregation of elders unawares that they were frozen with shock. Third brother. Caught also by surprise, the colors left Su Ru's face. Never had she expected that Jen Wushuang would strike suddenly. The terrifying aura tore through the air, stabbing straight at Lin Li. But Lin Li was instead overcome by shock and anger. You insolent pup! How dare you! As a powerful holy master himself, Lin Li possessed quick reflexes, allowing her to react swiftly. The gleaming flash of an emerald-green blade flickered dangerously like a serpent striking at its prey. Silhouettes of falling petals rained around her with a frigid coldness that blanketed her surroundings as her sword pierced at Jen Wushuang charging towards him, the flow of time being suspended in stasis as she unleashed her retaliation. Whereas the Blood Mountain sword struck forth with the force and intensity of a lightning bolt hammering down from the sky. Clank! The two swords clashed and gnashed furiously, emitting a huge explosion of force that released fiery sparkles and ripped even the fabric of space. Such powers he wields. Lin Li regarded her foe with disbelief. She could feel the sheer strength contained within the strike unleashed by Jen Wushuang, a strength that would hardly pale in comparison even to her, a holy master. You have commendable power and strength, but your skills are still lacking. Lin Li taunted. Really? Jen Wushuang replied nonchalantly with an eerie grin. There was an anger flaring in his eyes. Burst! Jen Wushuang roared loudly, his voice echoing loudly within the entire chamber. And immediately at his command, Jen Wushuang's blade released the vast and terrifying power contained within it at once. A huge force swept like a tide towards Lin Li without warning. What? Lin Li's expression turned into one of shock and fear. He had imbued a secondary charge of raw power in his stroke, and a huge and powerful force at that. Lin Li's eyes widened with panic as she could feel the reverberations of the explosive force within Jen Wushuang's sword. The raw energy transmitted from the blade of her sword, passing into her arm. With horrifying cracking of bursting flesh and viscera, Lin Li's arm was blown into bits and pieces. Her limb exploded in the blink of an eye, throwing shreds and bits of sinewy flesh and bones into the air as her emerald-green sword flew out of her grasp and clattered harmlessly onto the floor. And Jen Wushuang had wasted no time, appearing beside Lin Li abruptly. Off with you! With a rumbling growl filled with rage, Jen Wushuang landed a strong kick onto Lin Li. Heavily traumatized and dazed, Lin Li was no longer able to defend herself as she was thrown off her feet and crashed forcefully into the floor. Bang! The floor cracked and shattered under her. Another strike came, hitting her so hard that she fell out of the building and rolled down the hill. Then came another strike, sending her off the middle of the hill down towards the foot of the hill. She crashed into a scarlet-colored palace, smashing the building that it too tumbled and collapsed. Whoosh! As Lin Li tumbled down the hill, Jen Wushuang followed closely behind, appearing at the fallen ruins of the scarlet-colored palace. Lin Li was caught under the rubbles of the ruins, clambering to rise to her feet. Boom! A huge boulder, weighing at least hundreds of kilograms, slammed mercilessly into her chest, pinning her down on the ground. Ugh! Lin Li vomited a huge mouthful of blood. With most of her bones broken and shattered, she could no longer move and free herself from under the boulder. And a figure, clad in a blood-crimson robe, stood imperiously atop the boulder. The figure raised his feet which glowed in gold, ready to end the suffering of Lin Li, who was writhing with agonizing pain. Chapter 1056, Terror. Chapter 1056, Terror. Stop. Stay your hand. Angry cries and shoutings arose all around him. The experts of the council have caught up to them. All of them could hardly believe the sight of carnage and destruction laid out before them. Too fast. Everything, from the beginning of Jian Wushuang's sudden assault to the end of the skirmish when Lin Li was incapacitated beneath the huge boulder, had happened so quickly as the blink of an eye. Even Lin Li herself had not been able to fully respond to the abrupt onslaught of devastation beset upon her. Especially when Lin Li, in particular, was a true holy master who wielded immense strength herself. How could a holy master of such power and stature fall so easily? Even though one could factor in the haste of Jian Wushuang's sudden attack and Lin Li's overestimation of her own powers, one matter was invariably definitive: Jian Wushuang's skills and prowess. How could it be possible? Preposterous. Despite being crushed under the rock and her life hanging on a thread, Lin Li roared and bellowed vainly. She had not expected Jian Wushuang would dare strike so swiftly, nor had she knew that Jian Wushuang had such strength. Most exclusively that particular stroke. Not only was the stroke earlier exceptionally powerful, but it also held a secondary charge hidden within. The hidden charge had surged forth as a secondary force, erupting towards her without any sign or warning, and had annihilated her entire arm, crippling her instantly. And it was that hidden charge that was the actual terror that had been her undoing. With 120 years and the abundance of materials for my research, I have finally improved my powers greatly, most notably my mastery of the coalescent sword principle. With all the many different styles of sword principles unified as one, I have passed the universe level to reach the creation level. The powers of the creation level is indeed so much more powerful than that of the universe level, and as I assimilated the various sword principles laid out before me, I have also been searching for any suitable techniques for the swordplay of coalescence. The ruthlessness technique which I had created is strong, but it is too simple and direct. And now, I have this. My new creation, the bladed surge. This newly designed stroke of mine is not only strong. There is a second charge, powerful and destructive in force, hidden in the first stroke. Then again, I have only the Empyrean Patriarch to thank for. It was he who had inspired me to create this technique. Jian Wushuang smiled. Despite having only endured 3 blows from the Patriarch himself, Jian Wushuang had vividly remembered all 3 blows unleashed upon him, especially the second technique. It was the second technique used by the Patriarch which had held a hidden charge within. It was the hidden charge which had injured him heavily. And it was this devastating stroke by the Patriarch that had spurred him to create the bladed surge technique. It was a stroke most savage and yet mystifying. With his mighty strength and Lin Li's own misjudgment, Jian Wushuang was able to soundly defeat Lin Li. What have you more to say, great elder Lin Li? Jian Wushuang looked down at her coldly from atop the huge boulder. But Lin Li was hardly able to answer as she spewed mouthful after mouthful of blood as she remained trapped under the boulder. Release the great elder, Jian Wushuang. Please, Jian Wushuang. The great elder has no intentions of offending nor infuriating you. Please, stay your hand. The council elders and warriors of the Blood Azura clan implored him. Third brother. Suru called to him as well. But she had not pleaded mercy from him. Looking at the surrounding people around him, a thin smile broke upon Jian Wushuang's face. He had anticipated that these people would behave and react so. It is always the fist that does the talking. No matter where I am in this realm. Jian Wushuang remarked to himself with an amused expression. He full well knew that Lin Li was only using him as a pretext to subvert Suru's rule. But Jian Wushuang himself has no interest to bandy words with Lin Li. Thus he had elected to directly pummel Lin Li into submission. Action, after all, has always spoken louder than words. And with his might fully impressed into the minds of the elders of the council and Lin Li's life at his fingertips, none of them dared rashly provoke more vengeance from him, staying only at where they stood and urged for clemency. None of them dared to bare their fangs at him no more. This was the reign of terror upheld by Jian Wushuang. I confess that my stay here has indeed given you great dilemma and trouble. Moreover, I have borrowed the use of the resources of your clan. I am willing to repay your kindness with chaos gems. But there will be no tolerance towards anyone who intends to use me as a means of realizing their devious schemes. Jian Wushuang cast his fiery stare onto the people encompassing around the scene. This is, after all, a matter of your own clan. An internal strife between different factions which, in truth, concerns me not. But now that I have been involved, I will not sit quietly. More so, since the affair matters also my fourth sister. Lin Li. Jian Wushuang's icy glare descended upon Lin Li. By the pleas of my fourth sister and the rest of the Blood Azura clan, I have respectfully addressed you as Great Elder. But do not ever think that any impudence from you will be tolerated when the upper elder, Su Qian, who is also the esteemed teacher of my fourth sister, is absent from the clan. Anger me, and I will not stay my blade anymore. I have dared to incur the wrath of the Empyrean Patriarch and the ancient demon clan, and I will not shy away from infuriating one more. Especially when you hardly wield the strength to subdue me. Filled with ominous threats, Jian Wushuang's thunderous declaration echoed across the skies above the city of the Blood Azura clan. Silence lingered dismally over the group of surrounding elders and warriors, as well as the growing band of curious onlookers who have come over to watch. Every one of them knew full well that Jian Wushuang has spoken nothing but the cold and hard truth. Crushed under the boulder, Lin Li could neither raise any objections nor could she fight back. The strength of Jian Wushuang had frightened and tamed her. A strength that could easily smother the life out of her body. Jian Wushuang looked once more and studied the crowd around him. A thin smile broke upon his face at the realization that his tactic has succeeding in making a strong impression. He threw a look at Su Ru. Fourth sister. He called out to her and gave her a knowing look. Su Ru returned with a faint nod and walked up. Great Elder Lin Li. With your consent, I will assume control of the Azura guards. With a painful twitch of her mouth, Lin Li opened her mouth to speak. Yet, no sound came from her. Does anyone else have anything to say? Su Ru turned to the rest of the council. The rest of the council shared a look amongst them and ultimately yielded, all of them rushing to bow with respects to Su Ru. As you command, Your Majesty. With that, Su Ru beamed delightedly. Jian Wushuang released Lin Li from under the huge boulder. The council was then adjourned and the crowd dispersed. Peace returned once more to the city of the Blood Azura clan. Chapter 1057, The Indigo-Robed Man. Chapter 1057, The Indigo-Robed Man. Jian Wushuang sat across from Su Ru in the front courtyard of his residence. Brother, thank you for that. Su Ru said. You're welcome. Besides, if I didn't get you in trouble with the Blood Azura clan, Lin Li wouldn't have been compelled to target you. Jian Wushuang replied smilingly. Humph, Lin Li. She held me in humble reverence when Master was here, but ever since Master left, she has been making things difficult for me in all respects. I wasn't strong enough or confident enough to offend her openly. However, with your help today, the Azura guards are now in my hands, and with my significant increase in power, she's not going to make any more trouble. Su Ru said with confidence. Jiang Wushuang saw a spark of ruthlessness in her eyes as she spoke. Sister, you've grown a lot over the years. Jian Wushuang proudly answered with a smile. He still remembered when he met Su Ru in the ancient world. Back then, she was a shy little girl who was afraid to talk to strangers. But now, her aura of her confidence filled the courtyard. Everyone has to grow up, but regardless of what changes, our relationship will always be the same. Su Ru said solemnly. That's good. Jian Wushuang answered, grinning. Oh, brother. You had asked me to check the whereabouts of your mother in the ancient demon clan, and I sent someone to investigate. Not long ago, he returned a message with some information. Su Ru said. Information? Jian Wushuang looked anxious. Yes, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. I think he will send me more exact information in a few days. Su Ru replied. Okay, as long as there is news. Jian Wushuang replied. He couldn't help but clench his hands, at the expectations that were stirring deep within his heart. In anticipation of more information from Su Ru, Jian Wuxian continued his stay in the Blood Azura clan, filling his time with meditation on the sword principle. Hundreds of miles away, there was an isolated mountain in the divine monster territory. The mountain was enormous, but otherwise seemed to be completely normal at first glance. Even common Dao masters flying over might fail to detect anything out of the ordinary. However, masters who were skilled in formation would undoubtedly realize its power. The mountain was encircled in a huge psychedelic formation, and inside it lay a smattering of palaces. This was the Samsara Temple, known as the most important branch in the divine monster territory. At present, a bright light shone from the center, a huge wormhole in the middle of the temple, followed by a figure. The figure who walked out was a handsome man dressed in a simple indigo robe. He had a little stubble and silvery long hair flowed over his shoulder. He was somewhat haggard, but his eyes still managed to be striking. They were as dark as gems and seemed to hold the endless void. There was no aura surrounding him, causing him to look quite ordinary. But with a closer look, every move he made caused a ripple in the world around him. As he appeared, many experts in the temple rushed over. Dozens of them were experts who held high positions in the temple, and the rest also held positions of influence. Among them were 10 gold-clothed deacons, and there were even 2 inner elders who were strong enough to be reincarnators of rank 8. These experts looked to the indigo-robed man with reverence and awe before greeting him together. "Greetings, Your Highness." The indigo-robed man nodded with indifference and continued on into one of the towering palaces around them. Inside the palace, he sat on the largest throne, with the inner elders and gold-clothed deacons standing below him, respectfully. Occasionally, some of them would glance at him with admiration in their eyes. They all knew the greatness of the man in front of them. In the past 1,000 years, his actions had created one myth after another, each of which thrilled everyone present. Sitting on the throne, the indigo-robed man was thumbed through some papers. The papers held records of the events of the divine monster territory in recent years, the most detailed of which contained what befell the ancient demon clan. The indigo-robed man's expression shifted as he read about how the ancient demon clan worked with the patriarch of Empyrean glory to hunt down Jian Wuxian. Jian Wuxian? A strange expression appeared on his face before he demanded, "Bring me all the files on Jian Wuxian." "Yes." One of the inner elders answered and was gone for just a moment before he returned with more papers. Jiang Wuxian had stirred up the Samsara continent, and his talent and strength were things to behold. The Samsara Temple had investigated him thoroughly already and kept the subsequent files on hand. As he read the files on Jian Wuxian, the corners of the indigo-robed man's mouth turned up. It was him. The ancient demon clan and the patriarch of Empyrean glory failed to hurt him even when they worked together. Even better, he survived 3 attacks from the patriarch. Well, that's impressive. This is perfect timing for my next action. It would be great if he could lend a hand. The ancient demon clan, humph. He sneered, but then turned serious. He waved his hand, pulling out a gilded letter. "Go and send this letter to all the populations in the divine monster territory, all the lone warriors, and anyone who has the ability to fight as fast as possible," he ordered in a loud voice. Below him, one inner elder took this letter immediately. As he opened the letter and read, his pupils dilated. The inauguration ceremony for new supervisor? Everyone in the palace gasped at his words. Shocked, they all looked to the indigo-robed man. They knew what great power the supervisor of the Samsara Temple held, and the extent of the abilities needed to claim the title. The indigo-robed man in front of them would be the new supervisor? So soon. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,